Thanks for participating, everyone, in your respective regions. We recognize we have some folks on site, some folks in various regions, some folks remote, and some from their specific offices and their specific workstations. So hopefully we've made this as an opportunity to join and gather in a little bit more efficient manner. Recognize we're not coming from the large Woodstock operation. You'll see each of our the presenters be live in their specific offices, so we can get that message to you and see your smiling faces a little bit closer. So with that, I will just proceed here and let's see if I'm taking control. Just a few items on the agenda today. We do, as we normally do, share some updates and some announcements. And then today, as we walk through our strategic plan, we were formatting our presentation today to mirror the three pillars of the PHS way and talk a little bit about what we're doing on our strategic plan in each of those areas. We want to share that with you, and I'll cover that here in just a moment. But first, let's talk about people, because that's who we are, a people business, and it's the people who run the operations. And let's do that for a second here. First, as we look at the PHS standing ovations, we do recognize we have this way of recognizing folks. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But as far as December was concerned, December we had the following individual, those folks on the screen here as our PHS standing ovation award winners: Lindy, Holly, Julie, Ashley, Samantha, and Corey. Actually representing all of our locations. And so we do have this reach out for every single one of us, that there's always a PSO winner in these regions. So thank you to those who have submitted people for recognition, and definitely well-deserved here for those December winners. Let's move to January. Here, January, we have Ashley, Brandy, Jamie, Jenny, and Amy. Congratulate them on theirs. It is fun to read through each of the nominations, or each of the things that are said about them in the High Five Crew nominations there. So I do want to show a little bit where where does it all end up? I want to show you the recent addition to our company headquarters Hall of Fame. This is located across from the ping pong table in the Minneapolis office, and it is a greater Hall of Fame than we see in each of the other branch offices. But we have both clinical on this wall. We have the Minneapolis clinical crew, and then the enterprise support services out of wherever they are. They can be in Minneapolis or throughout. And then at the bottom row there, you see all the other award winners that are clinical in their specific regions. So we want to make sure that every single person that is awarded a PSO or a standing ovation shows up on this Hall of Fame, and that's where it is. So if you're ever in town, we encourage you to come play a game of ping pong and wave to those folks in the PHS Hall of Fame. So what you see on here today is all of the award winners for last year, but we're slowly replacing and putting the next month on. So you see there on the far left is our January 2023 PSO winners. So congratulations to all of those that have received the awards. We'll talk about the High Five Crew here in a little bit. Next, victory laps. And so we do, again, recognize that people do, we have some longevity in this company, and that those that have been around for a long time, and we want to make sure that we highlight them as well. And in each of our markets, we have the earlier stages, but there's some significant commitment and investment here. So 10 years for these individuals on the screen here. Recognizing regions, the upper Midwest, Texas, and the Great Plains market, all having victory laps in January, February, and March, coming on 10 years. So way to go, those folks that have circled the sun that many times with PHS. Also, Victory Labs 15 years. Again, these 7 individuals on the screen representing Ohio, Upper Midwest as well, the ORV and Upper Midwest, excuse me. And when I think of 15, I think of my son who's driving now, and I go, where was my son 15 years ago? And he was just a little tyke. So 15 years is a fantastic commitment, and appreciate those, and we'll continue to share with that. On these victory laps, every employee, you should be receiving a pin of some sort that recognizes your years of service. Those are going around to the individuals. So in your month of anniversary with the company, you should be receiving a years of service pin. We want everybody to recognize and be proud of that number, whether it's 1 or it's 33. That's a significant accomplishment, and we'll continue to share that with you. So I do want to appreciate those that are, again, circling the sun with us many times. Now, as we go to 15, we got to recognize our 20 years here. And Carolyn Bassford out of the Ohio River Valley, out of the Covington office, 20 years with us. And I chuckle a little bit because Carolyn was one of my first conference calls that I had when I joined the company. And if you want a good chuckle, we'll talk about the conference call that I had with her, but it was a fun little conversation we laugh about frequently. So I always look back at that as a fond memory. And also Mark. Mark, if you haven't met Mark, you should. Mark is always a joy to speak with in the hallway. I see him here in the Upper Midwest, and whether it's good chatter about what happened that weekend or some really good sports information, Mark's on it. So come March Madness timeframe, Mark will bend your ear a little bit about that. But congratulations to you two for 20 years. Really exceptional. I am going to turn the microphone over to Lori Finch for this next one. Lori, when I see you come off mute, there you go. I'll advance the screen. Are you ready for me to advance?
I'm ready.
Okay, drum roll.
All right, I get the pleasure of talking about Lisa Peterson. Has been with PHS for 25 years, and all of that time in the billing department. We lovingly call her Lisa P. And she has always been our department organizer and party planner, making sure we're all participating in all the events. So you can see some of the events listed on her pictures here. At least those that she could twist their arm and convince to participate anyway. So when she was in the office, she was also our emergency supplies holder. If you needed a stain stick or a safety pin or a sewing kit, she was always the source for that. Lisa is also a crafty queen. She specializes in quilting, but she does anything and all. So I think I only have one picture of costumes up here, and but she's made many costumes for our department over the years. So LP is also a wine and live music lover. She's been to countless concerts and many wineries. She and Nick moved to their retirement home in Ely last year, but we haven't quite let her retire. She's still working with us, and she's one of our Minnesota MA knowledge sources and relationship builders with the MA help desk staff. Many times she finds out about changes that are happening before they're officially announced through her relationships with them. So lastly, Lisa, she's just a good human. If you need anything and she's got it, she's going to give it to you. So thank you, Lisa. We're happy to have you in billing. Congrats and here's to the next 25.
Awesome. Thanks, Lori, and congratulations, Lisa. What a fantastic accomplishment. Okay, the next one, I mentioned 33, and I have the pleasure of sitting down the hallway from Bruce and Bruce Estrom. So one of the OG. So 33 years, Bruce Estrom has been not only being a great person, but dedicating his life and his talents towards the children that we serve. And I enjoy my conversations with Bruce. We were just talking today about how do we scale and how do we take what we have and ensure that that greatness is shared across the company. And behind me here, and in the corner of the screen here is a drawing that was done in 1996 that we have some great pictures of Bruce, but one of the great things here is one that really highlights the love that he has for the children. And so some of you don't know, we recently did some changes in our Minneapolis office, which because of our whether it's work from home or hybrid environments, we don't need to use as much office space. And this picture here used to sit down in what was called the Linus conference room, and we needed a place for that picture to go. And well, Bruce, we're going to put this picture in your office and let you really enjoy that. And it's such a great picture, a great thing that we want to recognize with you. That you can hang it wherever you like, but I'm going to put it in your office hopefully before you get back to it. But again, Bruce, thank you for 33 years, one of the only. And if you ever want to talk Pinewood Derby cars or Boy Scouts, always a fun conversation there too. So thank you, Bruce, for your dedication and what you've done for countless children throughout the country, actually. Okay, with that, we'll continue to see the hearts and the claps come along. I do want to turn it over to Chad for some celebration around the perfect order. Chad, if you can, as soon as I see you come off mute, I'll advance the slide. There you go.
I am here. Okay, so yeah, for perfect order, for those not familiar with it, we put this in place last year and started tracking how well we are doing as an organization in getting our patients what they ordered when we promised we would get it to them. So it really takes into account the promise date of an order, what they ordered, whether the patient had some issue with it after the fact, whether we shipped it on time, and it encompasses end-to-end effort by our CS teams as well as our warehouse fulfillment teams and our drivers. So it does look end-to-end, and it kind of requires that entire group to be working collaboratively together to make sure that we are being transparent with our patients on when we can get them what and what we can really get them, and then that we actually execute on that in our warehouse and support services team. So we this year are going to start to give a traveling trophy, which I have here. It's quite big and hefty. That will go to the first organization. It also has a number of stress balls here that go with it in the top, but it's going to be moving around the country based on whoever is kind of leading the way in perfect order in every given month. And so at this meeting, we're going to announce the first winner from January, and we'll kind of see how long they get to keep it given we're in the middle of Feb. But if you want to go to the next slide. It's a surprise. It's going to take a while. There we go. So it's Covington, not Cincinnati. I know it's, but Covington has done a great job given that we launched NetSuite and the new Brightree. There was a lot of effort by the entire team there across the board, right from the CS team, the warehouse team, the drivers, clinicians. Everyone had a lot to deal with in getting that system up and running, but they took that as an opportunity to start to focus on their overall ability to meet the demands of our patients and really keep their promises. And the entire team there has done a great job and led the entire company in terms of perfect order metric in January of this year. So congratulations to the entire team there. I really do appreciate the collaboration between all the teams. I've seen that firsthand being there, as well as consistently hear it from my team on the ground and from John and from Carolyn and others. So congratulations. I'll be figuring out how to box this up and send it off to you. It'll probably arrive shipped to Tracy, and then she can put it proudly on display somewhere where everybody there can see it. So congratulations, Covington.
Nice job, Covington, and hopefully the shipment of the trophy is a perfect order and the perfect shipment is arrived. So congratulations, everybody. And that's what a great feat to not only do that, but go live on a new system and an inventory system, and do that all at the same time. Really a highlight of what can be done, and probably stress balls are appropriate there. What can be done under pressure. So congratulations on that. Thank you. The next here, we've recently launched a replacement for our employee kudos campaigns, which we shared with you, and that was the High Five Crew. I did want to share with you a couple of things that we see here. You see some of the recognition that is there. It's on the hub. It's on a link on the hub that allows you to provide that kudos, provide that recognition of your peers. Since we've been doing this, we've seen nearly 6 high fives submitted every single day since we launched the program. And it's important for 2 reasons. One, we want to recognize people, and 2, it highlights what we're doing right, and we learn from that. And if we can cross-share, if we can do things a little bit better, each one, a rising tide raises all ships. Just the recognition is so important for us to do that. It allows for us to do recognitions in a cross-regional way, in a scalable way, in a way that touches somebody, whether they're working in a remote environment or a hybrid environment or even in the office. So important to know this High Five Crew, we get the receipt of that, and at the end of every month, those individuals which have received a High Five Crew are in the running for that PHS Standing Ovation Award that you see in the Hall of Fame. But so go to the hub, recognize somebody who you're going to recognize next, and it's a good time to pay it forward. If you get recognized, scratch somebody else's back as well. We encourage you to do that. So thank you to those that have done the recognizing. It is a great way to see and share some of these things. You can see, again, the great things that people are being recognized for. Also want to share a new piece of our employee work that we're doing here. And Leanne later will talk a little bit about some of what we're doing around employee specific, but wanted to share with you our departmental celebrations. More important departmental celebrations is the departmental recognition. And we recognize that there's almost a day for everybody and everything around the world, whether it's National Donut Day or National Candle Makers Day. But each of these departments, this is the first quarter of these. In January, we celebrated IV Nurses Day. The complex rehab teams coming up in National Wheelchair Day on 3/1. Dietitian Day. We saw so much good work. The dietitians last year, we had that recall. Recognizing that around 3/8 is Dietitians Day. Billing Day on the end of March. And so you'll see something come across your inboxes as your specific department or jurisdiction comes up. We do have a way for everyone to be recognized, and that will be coming across your inbox as your day comes. So thank you again to those. Again, this is not the only way we recognize you, obviously, but I want to make sure that you receive something from us to say thank you for the significant work you do within your departments. Okay, let's move now to some more meat and potatoes behind some of this. I do want to, what you'll see on the screen here is our strategic plan, and the marketing team and communications team have been engaged in ensuring that everybody has this as part of their day. Whether there's posters in the offices, we've seen this emailed about and shared in each of our presentations, and also in your badges, in your badge cards. We do have a badge card for everybody because it's important. We want everybody to see what we're focused on, and I think the important thing here for today, I'd like to talk about is that purple dot in the middle. Our aim to be the #1 trusted provider of a pediatric continuum of home care in the United States. And so that is the focus of what we do. I think it's really important that we recognize that a gating item to all of this, and the reason we can say we bring kids home sooner and keep kids home longer, is the quality of care that we provide. Later in the presentation, you'll be hearing from Joyce Bowman, our VP of Quality and Compliance. We'll be talking a little bit about the role of quality in our organization. But there's a lot of momentum of what we're doing around our aim And all the things on the right-hand side of the screen are component pieces that'll help us move toward the goal of that aim. On the upper right-hand side, we'll talk about taking more care to more kids. We're going to talk about the advancement of nursing services within our organization, and Sean and Christy from our nursing division, PDN Nursing division will share information around that. I think it's important to know that this last year in 2022, it was a challenging year for a lot of reasons, not only for us, but around the country. In our industry, we did take more care to more kids. Our revenues, we did advance the ball in our revenues. Our revenues grew 8%. Our expected revenues were around 8%. We were below budget. We were below where we planned. And so to a couple of percentage points below that plan. But at the end of the day, we did grow our business about 8.5% from a revenue standpoint. We did give up some of that revenue gain in terms of areas of whether it's inefficiency or areas of challenge. We obviously had the significant recall for formula that impacted our operations last year, the supply chain issues that we have, and not to mention the inflationary pressures, as we all have in our lives, to absorb some of that revenue growth in whether it's increased cost of goods. And it's important to understand those pieces that pulled away from the revenue growth we saw. That's the investment that you'll see. We'll talk a little bit more about the efficiencies that we're working towards through our systems and implementation. So that's why the important piece, that second element, being efficient with our resources. We'll talk about what we are doing this year to ensure that we continue to set ourselves up for success. We are seeing this year our payers come to the table and help us understand, recognize the fact that we have seen inflationary pressures, and in some places, pricing that hadn't been touched in so long is now starting to be recognized. And whether that's through fee schedules or increased contract negotiations for our payer and government relations team, we are seeing advancements in that, and indeed a recognition that the services that we provide are providing value, and the efficient way that we do that does take cost out of the system, and will continue to increase our revenue this year. We had a great January in terms of both our revenue growth, our attainment to budget both on our top line and our bottom line. And those are important things to recognize the significant success we've had this year as the work that we've done last year is coming to fruition. So congratulations to all those, but recognize we are continuing to having to power through and work on our efficiencies to help address those items. Also in the presentation today, we'll talk about our employees, and Leanne and team will share a few things there. So we'll have three pieces of the discussion about what we're doing on the growth side, and not just growth in number of patients, but also our payers. And Cameo, in the next slide, we'll talk about some significant work we're doing on support that we're putting forward and work that we're doing around our legislative and payer efforts. And then we'll talk about efficiencies and people. So again, our aim is to be here. We're doing what we need to advance the ball. So I'd like to turn the time over to Cameo on our efforts on the government relations side.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we're really excited that we have a couple of opportunities coming up in the next couple of weeks to head on over to the Hill, Capitol Hill. I don't know about the rest of you, but that still makes me think of an after-school special from years gone by. But we're excited to shine a really bright light on our kids, on our families, and on our people. And so with that, on March 1st, we'll be heading to St. Paul, to our state capital, where we'll really be focusing on home care nursing and looking to build momentum to pass a 55% increase to the state Medicaid's home care nursing rate, so that we can pay a fair wage to our remarkable nurses who are really providing ICU level care. And we want that to be recognized, whether they're practicing in the hospital or in the home. So we'll be there the afternoon of March 1st. What that looks like is we'll have a committee hearing for our home care nursing bill. We're also arranging for a press conference so we can bring this message more broadly to the community. And then we'll generally be looking to take over the halls of the state capitol to further this message. In addition, we're excited to have, I would say, a new and more robust presence at the Texas State Capitol in Austin, starting on February 21st, where PHS will take part in a day at the Capitol that is focused on the value of durable medical equipment and supplies, with the purpose of passing legislation that prevents managed care plans from discounting the payment rate that is set by the state Medicaid program. And that's especially important so that we can ensure access to our pediatric specialty supplies that need at a minimum that 100% payment rate that's been passed through the legislature and through the state Medicaid system. So a few people will be heading over to Austin next week, where similarly we'll be looking to have meetings with legislators to educate them on the value of our services and the difference that our services make in the lives of children with medical complexities. And then I'll also take part in a committee hearing where we'll have further opportunity to continue to make progress on the legislation. So these are two really important events, a lot of people helping to make them happen. So thank you so much for the work. And for those of you in Minnesota, especially our home care nursing staff, you will be receiving some additional information, and would love for the opportunity to have you take part and share your stories as well. So more details to come. This is what's happening in Minnesota and Texas, but other activities as well across all of our states to further advocate for our kids and our services. And with that, I will turn my time now over to John to share a wonderful patient story.
All right, John, I think your sound isn't working, but I'm going to go ahead and give just a slight voiceover. John shared this with our senior team, and John, if your voice comes in, we'll kick it back over to you. But John shared this story with our senior team this couple of weeks ago, and MJ is a great example of where we're well equipped to support an adult patient with pediatric onset issues here. John, are you back? Still can't hear you, John. Shoot. We'll figure that out in here, but this is an example of one of our patients who's an adult patient, but has complications that are pediatric onset. And one of the great things that I'll share that I know about MJ is that she's not only a great patient for us, but she is a great advocate for what we do. She is one that John said she can hold her own in an argument for sure. But that's one of the things I know. John, are you back? No. Shoot. We're gonna stop trying to figure out the IT. But I do want to share this with you. But MJ is one of those that does advocate for us, for our kids, for all the kids that have seen the care that we provide through the Ohio River Valley, and has been a strong patient for us for a long time. You see her quote there. It's one of the great blessings working with PHS because of the people you have chosen, to be part of your organization. And the quality of your work ensures that patients not only have what they need, but also that what works best for them. And I think if you think about what Cameo just talked about, and what Sean and Christy will talk about here in a minute about nursing, one of the key words that comes to mind for me is the word access. And that's so important, that what we do as a combined organization to provide access for the patients, access for the employees to provide that care, and whether it's through payer and government relations, increasing reimbursement to ensure that we have the caregivers to provide it, or ensure that we get paid for the work that we do. It is about providing access for those individuals that have those needs, regardless of their conditions. And an example of MJ here, who is a patient that had pediatric onset conditions that are complex and continues to provide the complexity in her life. It is what we do every day that makes a difference for them. And she's great that she has a voice for us. And so many of our children may not, but they may not directly, but their voice and their stories does speak volumes. So, John, I apologize that our IT or the technical challenges there, but we want to share this with you. And if we can share a little bit of John's voiceover in a different way, we'll figure out how to get that out to you. But for now, let's turn it over to Sean and Christy to talk a little bit about the focus on nursing at PHS. And one of the things that we go through our strategic plan, I realized I'm not on camera, as we go through our strategic plan, one of those things that we see in the 2023 column is the expansion of our nursing services. And we're seeing that not only in just the Great Plains region, but also in the Dallas market and the Minneapolis market as well. But so I'll turn that over to Sean, our president of our PDN service line.
Thank you, Adam, and good afternoon to everybody. If we can get that slide transition to the next one, that would be awesome. Thank you so much. So thrilled to be here today. Excited to talk with you about a little bit more about the expansion of PDN. I think many of you know that when the Legacy Craig team really saw the awesome opportunity to join with Pediatric Home Service, it was for several reasons, but a couple of the big ones were, as Adam mentioned, was so that we could actually fulfill the mission of bringing more care to more kids across more areas, because we felt like we had the right model and the best way to approach these families and kids and provide the best support for them. So we wanted to expand that. And moreover, we wanted to be able to provide and be a big piece of a more comprehensive care model that could deliver all the right services to these kids and the families when they need it, where they need it. And this has absolutely come to fruition for us in some markets where obviously we're still providing services in our legacy markets of Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri. And in those areas, we serve every inch of those states, as difficult as that can be. We reach some of the real rural areas. And then, as you can see, Minneapolis, and we are in the process of kind of integration with Minneapolis to roll them over to our medical record system, Cantime, and get some of the same processes going there, which is going to be more efficient. But also, and Christy's going to talk a little bit about this, but expand kind of our idea of what is a good patient for us to look at in the Minneapolis market. I think there's a lot more opportunity for us to provide more care there. And incredibly excited about what's happened in Dallas. We were able to bring on that partner in Hope Pediatrics, and now have another 125 patients, and that's going to be growing. We're going to get them on the Cantime platform for us. We're going to get our recruiting model rolling down there, and I think we're going to have some tremendous growth and expansion in that market. And then, not to mention some of the markets that we have in queue, some of our existing markets looking to add nursing there, as well as potentially some other markets where we would want to add that PHS doesn't currently have a presence at all. But to talk about more of the detail about what this expansion looks like is Christy Fell, our Director of Operations. So I'm going to turn it over to her.
Thanks, Sean.
You're welcome.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, by the way, go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs. It's nice to be here and meet everybody virtually. I'm Christy Fell, the Director of Clinical Operations for our HCN PDN service line. So like Sean said, I'm going to talk about some of our opportunities with expansion with our nursing services. So as you can see, the 8 circles on the screen represent areas of opportunities that we've identified as we look at what our nursing program at PHS is and how that will continue to grow across the country. Like Sean said, our energy and focus is really to be directed towards continuing to improve and grow this incredible service line. In nursing, the demand for our service far outweighs the staff that we have that can deliver the care. So when we look at our goals of bringing more care to more kids. For this team, it's really about how can we enhance that nurse experience and make PHS the place that people really want to work at so we can bring more care to more kids. I'd like to give a shout out to our incredible recruitment team who have been working like crazy to bring new nurses in across all 5 of our states. I think in January, we onboarded 25, which is just crazy, and it was an awesome month for us in all of our markets. While there are 8 circles on this screen, it really comes down to 3 areas of focus. The first, bringing more care to more kids. So this can look like not having any restrictions on the patient that we onboard or expanding the area where we can offer nursing services when that's available. The second is delivering safe and high quality care. So looking at our tools we have available across all of our offices and determining the right options that will work to support the onboarding of a nurse and to build off the foundation of their skill set when they do come to PHS. No sacrifice in safety of care. Instead, we're providing individualized training based on the nurse's ability to get them into the home efficiently and effectively as possible. And the last is to streamline our operations, just like Adam touched on with our strategic plan. So having that consistency across all of our branch offices so we can support one another and function as a team across the department. So we're really excited about 2023 and what HCN is going to bring to PHS. Thank you.
Thanks, Christy. And by the way, it's a pleasure to have you up here in Minnesota with us this week. So thank you for that. Really great. Again, I echo the words of Access and in trying to take as that message home to all of our referral sources, payers, and patients, that it is our responsibility to provide as much care to as many kids as we can. I do want to take a minute to talk about efficiencies and share a little bit about a couple of things. I'll talk a little bit about, I'll talk some about NOVA, the system implementations that we're doing, and I'll turn then over to Joyce, our VP of Compliance and Education. Nope, VP of Quality and Compliance. As I turn that over to her. But first, simple slide here, NOVA. NOVA, again, we have this new logo for it. This is indicating our system implementation, or the systems that we use to provide the care that we do. And if you look across all of our organizations, specifically on the DME side, we were in multiple instances of not only Brightree, but CPR Plus and all the different pieces that went to that go into that, but also tying that into an inventory system. I mean, I did the count one day, and we have 2.5 miles of shelf space throughout the organization, and that on top of those miles of shelf space is a lot of product, and ensuring that we have a right understanding of what's in our system so that we can be efficient with our resources, know what we're providing, know the best way to negotiate with our vendors to ensure that we're doing the right with that and can be as efficient as possible. It's important that we know what we have. And so as our organization grows, and as we have more and more locations, becoming more scalable in what we do. This is also, coming together of not only multiple instances of Brightree, but also a CPR Plus instance in the upper Midwest, coming over to one instance of Brightree and getting ourselves on that system so that we have commonality in what we do and commonality workflow, process, language, and be able to be efficient in how we work together. Also systems, whether it's, you heard Sean and Christy talk about the nursing services and the systemization of that coming on to our standard of an EMR there, our documentation system into CanTime, ensuring that we're choosing the right system for the right business purpose and the right, more importantly, care service for the employee or the patients that we're serving. A lot of work has been done here. In fact, we have 2 locations that are already live on the new instance of Brightree and CanTime. One of our winners of the Perfect Order Award, Covington, also Kansas City, in the Great Plains, the Great Plains region, is live on our Brightree, a new Brightree instance. San Antonio is next in the lineup and is gearing up for that. There's a lot of work that's gone into that, and we want to recognize the work that's done there, significant lift, and we put some significant time and resources into that. But important in that is there's a few key pieces as we talk about efficiency. Remember, we talked about the impact of our revenue growth and taking more care to more kids, and the impact of costs on that. This is an element that will help us be efficient in what we do for a few reasons. One, gets us away from monthly inventory counts and allows us to understand live inventory, reduces the amount that we have to carry as an entire organization, allows us to look at inventory across the organization and be efficient with the different bodies. Also, standardizing our workflows, standardizing across organizations so that we can share the workload, so that we can provide a better experience and share best practices across the organization. With multiple instances of Brightree, and CPR Plus, we don't have the ability to do that. Another important piece that comes out of that is our knowledge of the costs of services that we have, knowledges of the inventory and the pieces that we have, knowledges of identifying where there may be waste in unnecessary processes, and allow us as individuals be more efficient in what we do so that we can focus our care on providing care to the child rather than inefficient processes. To go back to one of our guiding principles of being, doing things efficiently and forgetting the rest. So that is the work that's being done by on Nova. You can expect more activity around this in the first half of this year as more of our locations go on to, whether it's an instance of the new instance of Brightree and the inventory system, or can time, or other elements of changing the systems in our organization. And important for this is a system that is consistent and stable for the work that we do. And getting to a part of our organization that supports growth and supports more kids and minimum resources. So if Nova's coming your way, you should know about it. But if you'd like to learn more about the Nova impact on your specific workflows or your specific environment, please talk to your member of the senior team, or if Glenn Galloway's near your office or whatever, talk to him about it as well, as he's helping us work through that implementation. Glenn and the IT team and all of the business owners are working through this together. So recognize the significant work there, but again, a way for us to work better together. So with that, on the efficiency side, I'd like to turn it over to Joyce to talk a little bit about quality.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate that. Hello, everybody. Really happy to be here today to introduce myself and spend a few minutes talking about clinical quality at PHS. So quality is the standard of something as measured against the other things of a similar kind, the degree of excellence of something. And so we, as we look at all of our initiatives that we take on, it's really important that we're keeping quality at the center of everything. So real quick, my name is Joyce Bowman. I'm the Vice President of Compliance and Clinical Quality, and I joined PHS about 9 months ago. I am a registered nurse by trade, and transitioned from bedside pediatric care about 20 years ago. I can't even believe I'm saying that, but yes, about 20 years ago, I transitioned over to the operations side. I've been proud to be on teams of all sizes, and really focusing on bringing consistency to clinical quality programs that span many locations. In my role, along with our amazing clinical quality team, our goal is to address high impact areas that safeguard the health of our patient population. And what that means is, looking at all of our processes, looking at all of our programs, and ensuring that we have the highest quality of care, highest quality of processes in place. So John and Christy and Sean and Adam have all touched on this earlier in the presentation, but what I love most about working in healthcare is the consistent innovation. Change can be hard, change can be challenging for us, but if done right, it's a constant opportunity to improve our care, to reevaluate our previous practices, and to identify new and hopefully more efficient ways of delivering care. You know, one thing that we're never going to get is more hours in the day. So we have to look at how do we maximize the efficiency of those hours while keeping clinical quality at the forefront. I know that every office location has been experiencing a lot of change over the, past weeks, months, years. And I want to assure you that central to every discussion about a change is the attention to quality and safety for that we can bring to our patients. You have a dedicated team that really puts quality at the center, along with the patient. And those two entities are really hand in hand. When we look at implementing changes, it really is with the goal of bringing alignment to our offices while creating processes that allow for the best care available. As we are a growing company, and as we continue to invest and bring on successful companies into the PHS team, one of the great opportunities is that we get to learn different practices. All of us can get into that mindset of this is how we've always done it. And this is the best practice. And I always challenge people on that because this is the best practice that we know of. And so as we bring new companies into the PHS family, we really get that opportunity to see their practices, learn for their programs, and just expand our tool set and grow. So you will hear conversations about how things are being done in another area and how do we take the best of all of our areas and create our new normal. It really allows us to think outside of our geographic area. And now we have multiple perspectives to enhance our quality program. And we see this as a continued opportunity to change how we think about quality and how we measure quality by learning from other successful organizations. So a couple of current examples to demonstrate this innovation and growth are some of the projects that clinical quality has been working on in the past few months. One of them is our policies. Most people don't get excited about policies, but us in clinical quality, we love our policies. We love them so much that we have many policies. And so one of our goals is to really streamline our policies and make sure that we have just the right amount of policies. You don't need a policy for everything, but you do need a policy for the important things. And in order for it to bring value to all of you, it has to be easily accessible. We know that with M-Files, we have some opportunities. Sometimes I'm searching for a policy and I, can't seem to track it down because I may not have the words in the right order. So we really want to change that so that the policies are at your fingertips. You can, look at them when you need to, when you have a question about something, and make sure that you're just not overwhelmed with the number of policies that we have. So far, we've reduced the number of policy documents by about 40, which is really taken a lot of work. It's not just we don't need this policy anymore. And our goal is to really get our policies down to a manageable level. It's not just a practice of reduction though. But instead it's a practice of what will provide clear and consistent direction for all of you without getting so detailed that it can't work in all of our locations, because we do understand that there's still some geographical differences that are important and pertinent to the care you provide. So we don't want to take away all of those specialties. What we want to do is create a core group of policies that you can adhere to. Education is another area where we're seeing lots of conversation and innovation. PHS is known for their incredible education tools and mindset. And that is something that we want to continue providing and really being at the forefront as we develop ourselves as the excellence in pediatric home care. We want to make sure that our education tools are, again, timely and easy to access. So right now our plan is to deep dive into our education tools to really better understand the use of pieces across all locations, and then the impact that those pieces have on our families. And what is the need for each tool? Is it still being utilized? Is there a better way to utilize it? How do we make it more relevant? So for our families, it makes it easy for them to capture the information that they need to for their individual circumstance. We're going to be looking at how we can offer things virtually and electronically, and really getting away from all the paper. In all of my years of healthcare, I don't think I've ever walked into a patient's home and they say, "Here, let me pull out the binder and let me show you what's going on." Usually that binder is either placed away someplace it's difficult to find, or it's got dust all over it. And so we want to make sure that we're creating a product that is usable and user-friendly. So you'll be hearing more about that over the next probably 12 to 18 months. This is a pretty big project for us. So again, I want to thank you for letting me talk about quality, Adam. And if any of you have any questions about quality, have ideas, we would love to hear them. You can reach out to myself, or you can reach out to anyone on the clinical quality team. All right, Adam, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Joyce. Going straight to Leanne.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Happy you guys are here. As we continue to focus on 2023 on the key strategy of celebrating our employees, I'd like to take a few minutes to highlight a few of the initiatives that we are currently working on, starting with Total Rewards. Total Rewards are a part of 5 tenets that make that up, and in each one of those, there are multiple ways for each of you to engage and choose what's meaningful and important to you, whether that's the insurance benefits you choose, seeking resources to support you for planning for your future, or how you want to grow and develop your career at PHS. Over the next 5 to 7 weeks, we're going to be sending out a series of small videos to talk about each one of these tenets, how PHS really thinks about these tenets and views Total Rewards, and then the various ways that you can choose to engage and participate. So stay tuned for more information on Total Rewards, and pay attention and look for those emails. And of course, reach out to Hannah on the benefits team, myself, or anyone on the leadership team to ask questions about Total Rewards. We also wanted to think about, what does DE&I mean to PHS? So welcoming diversity is not new to PHS and is critical to how we welcome our diverse population of patients. As leaders, we strive to create an environment for our teams where they feel safe to be themselves, as well as diverse talent and ideas to join our team. We need varying perspectives on how we make decisions and how the organization continues to engage and impact the communities in which we serve. And we wanted to know, most importantly, what does diversity, equity, and inclusion mean to you? So we asked with a one-word survey and received a lot of feedback and responses from employees all across PHS. This word cloud represents the most frequent responses and really positive, fun words identifying what does DE&I mean. We also asked you to participate in shaping the DE&I meaning and how it looks, how it feels within the PHS community. Employees from every region, every service line have raised their hand and said they want to participate and are interested in being a part of a work group that will start defining and developing DE&I and the meaning of that at PHS. So if you've raised your hand, you can expect to hear from somebody on the leadership team very soon. If you didn't get a chance to raise your hand and you are interested in participating, please feel free to shoot me an email or really anyone on the leadership team. We are excited to engage and hear what people think about DE&I and what's going to be important as we continue to spread that across PHS. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's next as we continue to celebrate our employees and welcome diversity at PHS. I'm going to turn it over to Crystal as she talks about PHS Madness and what's coming up with that.
All right, thanks, Leanne. I am Crystal. I'm housed here at the Minneapolis location. I'm HR generalist, but I also am the culture champion and the leader of the culture champions. I'm super excited to talk to you and launch PHS Madness for 2023. I think one of our favorite quarterly events for the year, and it's awesome to start the year off right with a super fun event. So PHS Madness is a take on March Madness, if you know the basketball tournament that happens for the NCAA in March. So about 10 or 11 of our locations in office or DME locations have a game that they will play, and they can register starting today. After the meeting, I will send out communications for registration. Registration will be open until the end of February, the 28th. And then from those registrations, culture champions across locations will create brackets for each location. And so you will be able to submit a bracket for your PHS peeps across the enterprise to pick who's going to win at each location, and those will be published on March 7th. You can submit from the 7th through the 13th, and then we will have games begin on March 13th, and hope that our championship games can be played and aired live for everyone to see on March 30th. So this is very small amount of information, more information to come after the meeting today. Anyone is able to participate in the bracket submission. So those of you who are remote employees, if you're not working in an office setting or not near an office setting, you are able to participate in this as well. And we want everyone to get a chance to do that. So we are super, super excited for this event. And I'll turn it back over to Adam.
Great. Thank you, Crystal. Thanks, Leanne. And thanks, Joyce. Appreciate every one of you. And thank you. As far as March Madness is concerned, there may also be a little NCAA tournament bracket challenge going around as well for a little extra March Madness fun. And so I may be sending around some information on that as well. So thank you everyone for your participation today. I know we're right up against our time here too. We hope we gave you a lot of information and a lot of understanding about what the great things we're doing at PHS. It is a busy year for the goals that we have. We recognize that going again back to that purple circle in the middle of our strategic plan. All of this surrounds the child and bringing them home sooner, keeping them home longer, and being the best and most trusted provider of a pediatric continuum within the geographies we serve and across the United States. So very important is that word trust, and that doesn't come without dedication and quality and compliance and all those pieces working together. So thank you for what you do. Any questions on any of the attached, please feel free to reach out to your respective member of the executive team or reach out to me directly as well. We're happy to engage with you and have a conversation. Thanks for your time today.